So in this video, we are going to handle functions in VB.NET. Okay, so just as we introduced in the previous video. So now we are going to do, play with the functions, the parameterized functions and the non-parameterized functions. All right. So in the slides that we were going through in the previous video, we came across this as parameterized function. Okay. So here it was a simple function that was purposely, written to add two numbers together and return the sum to the caller. All right. So I'm going to implement such in the code. Then we see how that one too works. Then we go to the next example, which will appear like a menu. Okay, a USSD menu. Then you select an option, then you go to the next option, another thing. So I'm going to do that one too. Then we see how that one too will end. So let's get started. So in here, before we know, functions are not declared in the main subroutine. Okay, functions are not declared in the main subroutine. So in declaring them, we have to come down here outside the subroutine, the main sub. Then we create our function block over there. So here we will say that in creating function, we have to bring the function key, the function keyword. So function, then our function name follows. Okay, so the function here will say add numbers. So say add numbers. Okay, then we want to return the value. It's a parameterized function, so we're going to return the value that's going to return should be an integer. All right, so we're going to declare the whole function as an integer. Okay, all right. So since we're going to pass parameters, we have to go and define the parameter, the type of parameters that we need for the function. So in here, we are going to introduce the by var, and don't forget the by var, as I explained earlier. What it means that when the compiler gets there, it tells the compiler that it should pass those parameters by value. Okay, so by var, I'll bring in here num1 as integer. Okay, then I'll bring the comma, then by var, by var num2 as an integer. Okay, good. So I've defined the function block. Okay, so this function is going to accept two parameters, num1 and num2. Okay, and they're all going to be integer values. All right, so in the code I have to declare a certain variable called sum to handle the arithmetic summation for us. So sum, then the variable sum as integer. Okay, so we'll say that the sum variable should now hold the value of the summation of the num1 and num2. So num1 plus num2. Okay, so we should add them together, then produce the answer for us. Okay, so now here it should return the sum value. That's also, we have defined it and we've indicated it. We specified what it should do for us. Okay, so if you accept two numbers, add them, return the value to us. That is what this function is supposed to do. So now we go to our main sub, okay, subroutine. Then we now display some values, okay, or we can just what I'm going to do, you can do it in one line, okay, but for the purpose of the training, let's define a certain thing here as integer. So let's say my value as integer. Okay, then my value will be my value my value should be equal to, so this is going to be the color. So I'll call the function name and pass my values to it. So I want it to add 23 and 12. Okay, that's what I want to add. So this is the color. So as soon as I call this one, I'm passing 23 and 25. It will go to this function. Okay, it will pass, this is the function name. So it will go to this function, pass the parameters, the two parameters, and now sum them together. Assign the value to the sum variable, and return the sum value to the back to the function. Then it will now be assigned to the return value will be assigned to the variable that I've defined here. Then now to display the answer, I'll just print my console dot write line. Then I will indicate. So the answer is. Then I'll bring my concatenation sign here at the ampersand. Then I'll bring my value. So that is it. This is a simple function that we have created. So let's run it. Let's compile it and run and see how it works. So voila, the answer is 35. So when you add 23 to 12, definitely you're going to get 35. So that is it. This is a simple function application that we have developed. Okay. All right. So just as we explained, we saw it in the example here. Okay, we have practically implemented it here and it's working fine for us. So this is basic function. This function we call it parameterized function. We pass on parameters to this function. In the next subsequent example, we are going to do non-parameterized function. We're not going to pass any parameter to the function, but we're going to define a certain logic in that function whereby if you select 1 or 2 or 3, the system or the application will go to that function and display that logic for the user to probably respond to it. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do in the next session. So I'm going to clean this one. I'm going to clean here, then prepare us for the new project. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to develop the application in such a way that if you, when you down a short code on your phone, star so and so hash, then a menu pops up. So we're going to do something like that on the console. So we're going to probably have an application for registration and login. Okay, so one aspect will handle registration, then the other side will handle the login. Okay, this is not going to be attached to any database or any array. We just want to show you how you can use functions to do such a thing. All right. Okay, so here since we are going to have an option, I'm going to display the declare variable called option as an integer, because we are going to select either 1 or 2 or 3. Then I'll come here and display to the user. So dot write line. So to say please select an option from the menu. Okay, then we want to go to the next line. Okay, so that one will come on the next line, the first line, the second line, then the menu comes 1, 2, 3. So to do that, we bring our ampersand here. Okay, then we bring our environment dot new line. So environment dot new line. Let me bring this one down. Environment dot new line. Then we bring this one here. Okay. So with this, after this, let me come down here and bring our string here. So number 1 is registration. Then I go to the next line. So environment dot new line will take us to the next line. Okay, in the same string. All right. So in the same menu, we're going to have please select an option from the menu on one line. Then it comes down to the next line. 1 registration. Then comes to the next line. 2. So the next line movement is done by the environment dot new line. Okay. So we go to the next one. I bring my curly brace. But before that, let me bring my environment. The new line. Okay. Then I concatenate that one with this. So I'll go to 2. Then we go to login. Okay. So then as usual, we have to accept what is being entered there. So we do option equal to integer dot pass, okay, console dot read line. So the read line always accepts receive the value from the user. Okay, so this is what we have done. Let's run this one and see how this whole code will display. All right, so exactly what I was talking about. So you see, the please select an option from the menu is on one line. One is registration on one line. The second one, login, is on another line. So that is what you have done. So now therefore, okay, let me end it. Array. So wants me to enter something. So 1 now end. Okay, no problem. So now we are here. Okay, so we are now going to set our conditional statement. The conditional statement is going to check which of the options has been selected and call the function which is designated for that option that will be selected. So if the option is equal to 1, okay, then something should show a certain operation a certain execution supposed to take place over there, a certain statement supposed to take place over there, which would be the function call. All right. Else if else if opt is equal to 2, then that. Okay. Then let's check if none of them is selected, then it should display something to us. So if nothing is selected, it should tell us console. Let's say it should display something to us. Console dot read dot write line invalid option. So just display invalid option. Okay, then it ends it. So now this is a hollow like a template that we have created. So let's go and create our function for registration and a function for login. So just as I said earlier, outside the main subroutine, let's create our function here. So I will initiate it by saying function, bring the function keyword, then bring the function name. So function name is user registration. And don't forget I said it's going to parameterize. We're not going to insert any parameter into it. Okay. So in the function block here, we are going to just bring first name and the second name. Okay. First name and second name. So for the first name, the second name, we are going to declare a variable for those strings. So we say then f name, comma, other name other name as strings as string. Then we now tell the user to enter the first name, console.writeLine, enter your first name. All right, so once that one is entered, we should let the system accept that value. So we are going to bring our first name here, first name equal to console.readLine, console.readLine. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Let's copy and paste for the the next command. So I'll copy here and save and say enter your other names. Okay, so then I'll change this variable here to other name variable. Okay, so that is what we've done. So we are going to say that when these two, when we are after receiving these two, the system should display what we have received. Okay, so we are going to say that, okay, so console dot write line so we are going to say thank you, your name is, let's bring our concatenation here and bring our first name, the variable. Okay, then bring the concatenation sign here and bring another concatenation sign here. Okay, then introduce the other name. Okay, so then in between these two, let's bring another string here to separate it. So if we say your name is Kofi space Yabwa, all right, or Eric space Yabwa, you get it. That is why I've done that. So now in this function, what we want this function to do whenever it's called is to just, then ask the user to enter the first name, the second name. If you're doing a real application, you could have taken all the bio data, then you store it in an array or in a database. But here we just want you to appreciate the functions. Okay, so that is what you have done. So here I'll just bring a console dot read line to at least hold the menu for a while or hold the application for a while before it's finally ends the flow. So console.read line, then nothing. Okay, so that is it. Here we are not returning any value. Okay, we are not returning any value. So this underline here is it's a safe error because the function returning anything. That is why it's been underlined, but it doesn't mean the work is bad. So what we are going to do is, so we are saying that if the first option is selected, okay, option 1, you should call this function name, user registration here. So if the function 1 is called, then it should do this. It should call, let's say, user registration. Should call the function name. So user registration. That's all. Okay. So when we're done with the login tool, then we bring the login here. Okay. So let's save and compile this application. Then we see how effective this whole code is going to work. Okay, this is interesting. So we run. So when you run, we have option 1 and 2. So I select option 1, then go to enter. You see it has taken me into the user registration function. So it's asking me of my first name. So I enter my first name, Kwame, then the other name, I'll enter Yeboah. So you say thank you. Your name is Kwame Yeboah. So that is it. All right, that is it. So peaceful. That is how we are using the function. Okay, another way of using the functions. We can use the functions to do a lot of things. Function array. You could have saved this one to an array. Okay, in the previous video, the array that we did, how we did it. But I've implemented the same thing. So you can play with it to become a master of, master of the code. All right, as we progress ahead. Okay, so let's try the option 2, which is the login, and see. So option 2 is saying that you should log in. So when somebody select that one, you should. So we are going to create another function called login function. So I bring the function keyword, then the name is user login. So user login function. That one too is not going to return any value. Okay. So here we are going to for any login request username and a password. So here we are not using any proper system credentials. So we are going to set a hard code credentials, and we just pass. We'll have a static username and password in the system. Then we just have a user typing something to confirm what we have in the system. And if it's true, then it allows the person to move ahead. If it's not, then it allows the person to, type the correct thing. All right. So here we are going to define some variables. So I'm going to have the username. We're going to have um, the name check, the username check. Okay, let me have name check here, and we have these two as string. Then we have the pin. So we have user pin and pin check. Okay, so user pin and the pin itself. Okay, as integer. Okay, so our name check here, we'll set our name check to say Felix. All right. Then the pin, we'll set the pin to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is what we are coming to, we are coming to check. Okay, this is the validation. So now when we ask the user to enter username and the password or the pin, we expected the user to enter Felix and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything aside this one should throw an error to the user. Okay, just as that we are just following the login principle. Okay, using that function. Okay, so we come here. You see this flow to if we are doing PHP and you are following the MVC principle. Okay, so in your model you can create these functions. Okay, in your model. So anytime you pass any value or you call it, then this block of logic pops up for the user to work with. Are you getting it? All right, fantastic. So now what we want to do now is we are saying we are going to display to the user. So console dot write line enter username. Okay, then we say user name equal to console dot read line. I'll copy this and paste it here. Okay, I'll paste it and change this one to enter pin. So here I'll change the username to the user pin variable. Okay, so let's accept the username and the user pin. Then we just check the two and see if they are equal. So we bring here. So if username is equal to user or is equal to name check, and user pin is equal to pin, then okay, so this not to confuse us, we can even parenthesis this, so we can bring this one into a parenthesis just for clarity's sake. Just for clarity's sake. All right, so we bring this one in there. So if the username and the pin are correct, then we are going to say console dot write line. Okay, so welcome. So I'm going to say welcome. Then the welcome should follow the username. So we are going to say welcome username. Okay, good. So welcome user. Then we say your login credentials are correct. Your login credentials are or were correct. Simple. So that is it. Okay, so if it is not true, okay, if they are not matching, sorry, Then we just tell the user console.writeLine. We tell the user that, hey, wrong parameters. Okay, tell you that, hey, you've entered the wrong parameters. So we tell the user, sorry, okay, sorry. Then we bring the username. So sorry, Felix. Then say your, so displaying things, you have to put it in the string. So say your or invalid credentials. Okay, invalid credentials. Then say try again. So try again. What we do is we have to recall the function again. So we call the user function again and the user login function. All right. So that until the correct one is entered, we'll be looping to be an endless loop. This one is not an endless loop, but it will be looping for you, okay, to enter the correct thing. Else it won't allow you to continue. Okay, so after that one, then we now bring our console.readline to at least hold up the execution for some time before it terminates. So this is a simple application that we have done. So from here, we now go to our if statement here, the options, and now bring in here the user login. That is if the user selects option 2. Okay, so this is a simple application that we have developed, which is controlling our menu, user registration, and user login. Okay, I hope you are following. All right, so this is it from the top. We declared a variable options, then we just display that options. We accepted the allow the user to enter one of the options, 1 or 2. Then we tested it here. If option 1 is entered, it should go and load the user registration function. If it's option 2, you should go to option user login function to initiate the login process. If none of these code are entered, then you should throw an invalid option, a certain message for us that hey, you should enter the correct option from the menu. Are you following? Then that is this. When it comes to the user registration block, the function block, this is what I've done so far. These are the codes that I've done. You just enter your first name, your second name, your other names. Then the system will display your name for you. Okay. Then you log into, we specify some constant names here, the name and the pin. So then we now came here and receive a certain username and a pin from the user. If it matches with what we have here, it gives you a welcome message. Else it gives you a sorry and asks you to log in again. So this is a simple application that we have developed. All right. So let's compile and run the application and see its effectiveness. So option 1. So we have, if I select 1, I come to here, it tells me to write what is my name. So I write Ama. So the second name is Xiao. So your name is Ama Xiao. So that version, that point is that it ends. So let me compile and go to the second one. Apparently you should do it in such a way that from the first option you can load the login for me. Okay, so from here we'll do that one. We'll make some modification to the code. You don't have to exit it and come back again. So now I select option 2, then it asks me of the username. So username, I enter QWERTY. Then the pin, I enter the correct pin. Since it's wrong, it should throw an error. Good. So sorry, QWERTY, invalid credentials. Try again. So now I use the correct test. So it's Felix, username, and the password. The pin is 12345. Then it comes, welcome Felix, your login credentials were correct. So that is what you have done. So as I was saying, we want to call the login function right after the registration. So after you are done registering, then the login block also loads out for you to complete the login. So now how do we do that? So in doing that, we just go to the welcome message here. Okay, the welcome message here. Then we just bring the user login function. Okay, so once the value entered here is correct, as soon as you finish entering your values, then it loads the login way for you, the login option for you. Okay, even this menu crowd, we can even put this menu in a function. Okay, you can put this whole thing in a function as well. So at the end of the day, when you are done, it will load up the menu again. I think that one will be fine because you don't probably, if you don't want to do the registration or something. All right, so what to do is you wouldn't come here. So as soon as you are done with that message, the login, the menu should pop up again for you to select which one you want to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to declare another function. So this function here will be user menu function. Then what you do is we'll go and copy all this code. So from the top here till down here, we are going to copy them and put them here. Okay, so what you are going to do next is we are going to call the user menu from the main sub. So as soon as the compiler runs, it will come and run from the sub main. So we do user menu from here, then that's it. Okay, so instead let's run this one and see how effective it is. So I'll compile it. Yes, I have the menu. Yeah, so that is all I want. All right, so I'll close it, then continue. So now what I'm going to do is just after the user registration, okay, the user registration, then we'll call the menu again. Okay, so here we'll call the menu. So we say user menu. Okay, so what the rationale here is, as soon as you are done with the registration process and your name, this line 18 executes. After that execution, then the menu should pop up again for you to complete it. Okay, so now the same way we can do over here. So when this one also is done, when it tells you the welcome message, the pop-up should also come. So you can say let's say user menu. Okay, yeah, so the system will continue to be in session. All right, so now let's run it. So here I'll select option 1, enter name, so I'll enter Felix, then I'll enter Debris. Then it tells me, yeah, thank you, your name is Felix, so Felix Debris. All right, then the menu comes in again, so please select an option from the menu. Do you get it? So that is it. So if I select, let's say option 2, then the name is Felix, then the pin is 1 2 3 4 5. Sorry, okay, it's capital F, so FELIX 1 2 3 4 5. So it tells me welcome Felix, your login credentials were correct. Then it's still there, so the system doesn't go off. Okay, so now if I select any option outside this one, it tells me invalid option. Okay, then you can now enter the correct one. Sorry, so invalid option, then the system ends. Okay, so after the invalid option, you can still modify this whole function, okay, to make it looks more user friendly. Are you getting it? You can make it more user friendly. You can add another option here, exit. So as soon as you enter that one, the system will automatically end, will close. So you get it. So I'll end this presentation here. There's a nice function test that we've gone through. Okay, so I'll urge all of you to keep trying your hands on all what we have done so far from the first video till now. Okay, so in the next video we are going to start the Windows forms. We're going to start with the forms. We're going to design the UI and other things. Okay, and code some of the buttons and play with them. All right, so as I always say, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe and share our videos to your colleagues, your friends, your other people, your children, or any other. Okay, make it trend. All right, make it go to the number of people that you want. I want everybody to be good in the program, especially in the VB programming environment. Okay. Okay, thank you and have a nice day.